gallant, bold, noble, and honorable in difficult situations. Example: the gallant soldier was awarded a medal for his bravery in battle. Debilitate. To make someone or something weaker or take away their energy. Example: the prolonged illness began to debilitate her, making daily tasks difficult. Cram. To study a lot in a short time. Example: he crammed for his exam all night. Oblivious. Not noticing or not caring about what is going on around you. Example: he was oblivious to the noise around him as he focused on his book. Alacrity. Quick and happy willingness to do something. Example: she accepted the invitation with alacrity, excited to join the celebration. Banal. So unoriginal that it becomes predictable and boring. Example: the movie's plot was banal, offering nothing new to the genre. Quagmire. A tough, complicated, or risky situation. Example: the company found itself in a quagmire after the unexpected financial crisis. Stampede. A sudden, wild rush of animals or people, usually because they are scared. Example: the crowd stampeded toward the exit when they heard the fire alarm. Havoc. Large-scale damage or complete disorder. Example: the strong winds caused havoc in the city, knocking down trees and power lines. Beguile. To make someone like you or trust you, often by tricking them. Example: she tried to beguile her guests with delicious homemade desserts. Amnesty. A decision to forgive or not punish someone. Example: the government granted amnesty to political prisoners. Envisage. To imagine something in the future. Example: I envisage a world where people live in peace. Fag. A British slang word for a cigarette. Also an offensive word in some contexts, so be careful using it. Example: he went outside for a quick fag. Substantiate. To prove something with evidence. Example: he couldn't substantiate his claims about the stolen money. Adversely. In a bad or harmful way. Example: smoking adversely affects your health. Sin. A bad action in religious or moral belief. Example: lying is considered a sin in many religions. Intuition. A feeling or understanding without reasoning. Example: her intuition told her something was wrong. Exasperate. To annoy or frustrate someone. Example: his laziness exasperates his teacher. Occupy. To take up space or time. Example: most of the shelves are occupied of books. Enigma. Someone or something that is hard to understand or figure out. Example: despite years of research, the origin of the artifact remains an enigma. Sagacious. Having a sharp mind and making good decisions, smart or wise. Example: the sagacious leader was respected for her ability to make sound decisions under pressure. Pensive. Thinking deeply or seriously about something. Example: she looked pensive as she contemplated the future of her career. Trepidation. A feeling of worry or nervousness about something that might happen. Example: he approached the interview with some trepidation, worried about making a good impression. Vicarious. Felt or experienced in your mind by imagining what someone else is going through. Example: she lived a vicarious life through the novels she read, imagining herself in the characters' adventures. Xenophobia. A strong dislike or unfair treatment of people from other countries. Example: xenophobia can lead to discrimination and social tension within communities. Censure. To strongly criticize someone or something, usually in an official way. Example: the committee decided to censure the member for his inappropriate behavior. swamp. A wet and muddy area, or to overwhelm someone with work or problems. Example, place the explorers were careful not to get lost in the swamp. Example, work she was swamped with assignments and barely had time to eat. Wretched. In a very bad or sad condition, feeling very uncomfortable or unhappy. Example, the refugees lived in wretched conditions with little food or shelter. Agony. Intense pain, whether physical or emotional. Example, she was in agony after losing her job and her house in the same week. Facetious. Making jokes about serious problems or laughing at the wrong time. Example, when asked about his tardiness, he gave a facetious reply, saying he traveled through time. Derogate. To insult or criticize someone in a way that lowers their value or reputation. Example, you shouldn't derogate others just because they think differently from you. Eventually. After a long time or after many steps, in the end. Example, after months of searching, she eventually found her lost pet. Literally. When something is completely true and not exaggerated or used as a comparison. Example, he was so tired that he literally fell asleep during the meeting. Instantly. Happening immediately, without any delay. Example, she instantly recognized her friend in the crowd. Occasionally. Happening sometimes, but not regularly or often. Example, I occasionally go hiking when I have free time on weekends. Frequently. Happening many times or again and again. Example, he frequently visits the library to borrow new books. Nevertheless. Used to show a difference, even though something else was said before. Example, it was a cold day, nevertheless, she decided to go for a swim in the lake. Gradually. Happening slowly over a period of time, step by step. Example, the snow gradually melted as the temperature warmed up. convivial, lively, friendly, and enjoying the company of others. Example: the party was a convivial gathering filled with music, laughter, and delicious food. Orgulous, feeling proud in a noble or respectful way, used in Old English. Example: the knight felt orgulous as he stood before the cheering crowd after his victory. Cheeky, a little rude or disrespectful, but funny or playful. Example: the boy gave a cheeky smile after making a silly comment to his teacher. Nefarious, very bad or cruel, often doing things that are wrong or unfair. Example: the movie's plot revolves around a nefarious villain trying to steal ancient treasures. Reclusive, living alone and avoiding interaction with others. Example: the old man was reclusive, rarely leaving his house or talking to his neighbors. Cynical, believing that people are motivated by selfish reasons and doubting their sincerity. Example: after many disappointments, she became cynical about promises from politicians. Boorish, acting rudely or without good manners, not thinking about others' feelings. Example: his boorish behavior at the dinner table embarrassed everyone. Compulsion, a strong and uncontrollable desire to do something. Example: he had a compulsion to check his email every few minutes, even during meetings. Miser, someone who saves and keeps money but refuses to spend it, even on important needs. Example: despite being very wealthy, the miser refused to repair his old, broken car. Judgment Day, a day when people are judged for their actions, often in a religious sense. Example: many believe in preparing for Judgment Day by doing good. Heaven, a place of happiness or peace, often described in religions. Example: people hope to go to heaven after a good life. Hell, a place of punishment or suffering in religious beliefs. Example, he was afraid of going to hell because of his sins. Goodness. The quality of being kind or good. Example, her goodness shines in how she helps others. Sect. A small group within a religion or organization. Example, each sect follows its own practices. Religion. A system of beliefs about God or the universe means a set of ideas people have about God, life, and how everything works. Example, Christianity, Islam, and Hinduism are religions. Belief. Something you think is true. Example, she has a belief in hard work leading to success. Faith. Strong trust in someone or something. Example, he has faith that everything will get better. Panegyric. A speech or writing that says good things about someone or something. Example, the panegyric honored the hero's bravery. Jihad. A struggle or effort, especially in religious or spiritual situations, means trying very hard to do something good. Example, for some, jihad means striving to improve themselves. Hair-raising. Very scary or exciting. Example, the roller coaster ride was hair-raising. Sensible. Showing good judgment. Example, it's sensible to save money for emergencies. Literate. Able to read and write. Example, most children start school to become literate. Illiterate. Unable to read and write. Example, some adults are illiterate and want to learn. Affection. A feeling of love or liking. Example, the dog showed affection by wagging its tail. Irrelevant. Not related to the topic. Example, that comment is irrelevant to our discussion. Lyric. The words of a song. Example, he wrote beautiful lyrics for the song. Symphony. A big piece of music played by a group of musicians called an orchestra. Example, the symphony was performed beautifully by the musicians. Pig-headed. Stubborn or not willing to change your mind. Example, he's too pig-headed to admit he's wrong. Stony broke. Completely out of money. Example, after shopping, I'm stony broke. Capricious. Changing moods or behavior suddenly and unexpectedly. Example, the weather here is so capricious. It was sunny this morning, but now it's raining. Magnanimous. Being kind and forgiving, especially to someone you may be competing with or who is less powerful. Example, despite their rivalry, she was magnanimous in victory and congratulated her opponent sincerely. Reciprocal. Given, felt, or done as a response or in return, shared by both sides. Example, they have a reciprocal agreement to share resources and information. Iconoclast. A person who challenges or criticizes widely accepted beliefs or institutions. Example, as an iconoclast, she challenged traditional practices within the organization. Utopia. A made-up place or situation where everything is perfect. Example, many authors have envisioned a utopia where society lives in harmony and peace. Facetious. Not taking serious issues seriously and joking about them in a disrespectful way. Example, his facetious remarks during the meeting were not well received by his colleagues. Hubris. Having too much pride or being overly confident in yourself. Example, his hubris led him to underestimate his competitors, resulting in his downfall. Ignominious. Being so bad or wrong that it brings public shame or embarrassment. Example, the team's ignominious defeat was a major setback for their season. Languish. To struggle or feel weak because of being in a bad situation. Example: the project began to languish due to a lack of funding and interest. Nefarious. Evil or related to a crime. Example: the nefarious activities of the gang were eventually exposed by the police. Extend. To make something longer or bigger. Example: he extended his hand to shake mine. Rivalry. A situation where people or groups compete against each other. Example: the rivalry between the two football teams is intense. Polytheism. The belief in many different gods is called polytheism. Example: ancient Greeks practiced polytheism and worshipped many gods like Zeus and Apollo. Impose. To force something on someone. Example: the government imposed new taxes on imported goods. Plaintiff. A person who brings a case to court. Example: the plaintiff accused the company of fraud. Dedicate. To give time or effort to something. Example: he dedicated his life to helping the poor. Prevalent. Something that happens often or is found in many places. Example: this disease is prevalent in tropical countries. Manifesto. A public statement of beliefs and goals. Example: the politician released a manifesto promising free education. Retaliate. To fight back after being attacked. Example: he retaliated by punching his opponent in the face. Ineffective. Something that is not working well. Example: the new medicine was ineffective in treating the disease. Profligate. Wasteful with money or resources. Example: he lived a profligate life, spending money on luxury items. Admire. To respect or like someone. Example: I admire her hard work and dedication. Inane. Silly or meaningless. Example: his inane jokes didn't make anyone laugh. Insidious. Harmful but in a sneaky way. Example: the insidious disease spread without showing symptoms at first. Quashed. To cancel or stop something. Example: the judge quashed the unfair law. Deprecate. To disapprove of something. Example: he deprecated the use of violent video games for kids. Pave. To cover a surface with material, like cement, or to prepare the way for something. Example: they paved the road with bricks. Her hard work paved the way for success. Antique. Something old and valuable. Example: she bought an antique clock from the market. Thanks for watching and subscribe us for more.